Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, anyone and everyone in between, Brian Von Vier here, back at it again with one single question. What is your most broken D&D multiclass? Let us know in the comments below, and let's break D&D together. My weirdest was a rogue assassin, Shadow Monk, Grave Cleric. The backstory was that he was an assassin who worked for the Raven Queen, and his whole job was to track down necromancers and undead who were violating the natural order. Now keep in mind, this was primarily a support character in a game with newbies. It was designed to see if I could. Master Fencer. They rolled stats, so this worked better than Point Buy. At Point Buy, it wouldn't be very good, but still playable, with a lot of 13s. Long-running monthly campaign, build never saw full fruition. This was the goal. I only got a little over half. Hobgoblin Artificer Battlesmith 3. Warlock Hexblade 1. Fighter Battlemaster 3. Bard Swords 6, 2 attained. Sorcerer Divine 3. Paladin 2, only if I found a way to bump my strength to 13. And Wizard Bladesinger 2. Mostly buffs and bardics, tools and skills, mostly int and charisma, a little bit of dexterity though. Crap HP and strength. It was kind of fun, kind of acted like Uncle Fester crossed with Theodore Roosevelt. I had a Warlock Cleric multiclass that was pretty wild. He grew up in a household where both of his parents were demigods. It was a forbidden love between a celestial and a pit fiend. He got his warlock powers from dad and cleric powers from mom. He has lots of opinions about all the gods, as his family occasionally had them over for dinner when he was a kid. Paladin, Warlock, Half-Elf, Revenant with the goal of becoming the richest person alive. I mean, undead? He'll be the ultimate con man with literally everything I could find to give him more charisma. And unable to fully die until his goal is complete. And, of course, he's an Oathbreaker. Barbarian with any spellcaster. Yes, you can't cast while raging, I get that. But what I do is 1 to 2 levels, maybe 3 if Barbarian, and the rest in the caster class. Cast your spells, use your slots, then when all seems lost, go nuts and beat their face in. I may be out of spell slots, but not out of options. Oh, that was a good one. The favorite I've done is a Barbarian. Barbarian Druid. Started as a Barbarian, then took Druid levels until I could shapeshift into a polar bear and did melee as a raged out bear. Loads and loads of fun. Second, but not close, was a Pathfinder Gnomish gunslinger Bard. I made a loot gun, which I could play and shoot at the same time. This one's not very wild, but I once did a Rogue Ranger multiclass. High five, we love Rangers in this house. Took Beastmaster, College of Satire, to create a sort of circus character. Her animal companion was a lion who wore a pretty pink bow. Aw, very fun using the tumbling mechanic, etc. I also did a Monk 11 Druid 1 multiclass. Didn't have much time to see how well it worked before being disintegrated by a beholder. I'd like to try a Barbarian Warlock or Barbarian Cleric, but I need to buff my Wisdom Charisma first. Playing a Fey, Wanderer, Ranger, Wild Magic Sorcerer now, and it's a blast. They got so influenced by the Fey Wild that they developed unstable magic. Extra fun if you build a custom Wild Magic Surge table. Extra fun if you and the DM can figure out a way to make the Wild Magic Surges happen a bit more frequently. Also, it just tickles me having a ranger be the charismatic one in my party. I play a half-orc Beast Barbarian 5, Moon Druid 2, Slayer Ranger 3, and I have a shield with the Shieldmaster feat. The Beast Barb part is the driver of damage, 3d6 claw attacks per turn, all with +8 to damage, +5 strength, +2 rage, +1 magic tattoo. Shield for +4 AC, magic +2, and Shield Master feat to knock enemies prone for advantage. 1 claw, 1 shield bash, 2 claws with advantage. And the Shield Master dex save stuff aligns very well with the Barb's dex defense perks. Sometimes when holding the line, I go full defense and use the Beast Barb tail for some extra AC. The Slayer Ranger adds damage and knowledge about the enemies. And the Moon Druid adds cool animal shapes with extra hit points to spare, and self-healing by burning spell slots even while raging. How can you do that? Nothing major at this level, but adds a lot of roleplay and versatility out of combat. Not a super powerful character, but he does deal a lot of damage and lasts long in combat. The big thing is managing all the options for bonus actions. The round is always 3 claw attacks plus 1 of rage, shield bash, ranger mark, wild shape, self-healing, lots of options. Plus, the build actually works without raging. If the enemies are not too powerful, or when I'm not the main target, the ranger spells and stuff can add a lot of damage. The only drawback is that with Beast Barb and Moon Druid, you kind of get used to not needing a weapon. When out of rages and wild shapes, it feels weird to actually use a weapon in combat now. Swarmkeeper Ranger 6 War Cleric X was the wildest one I've actually played. In practice, it was just use wisdom for literally everything, and beating people to death with a stick. I also had the Crusher feat and could shove people up to 20 feet in a turn through my Druid spike growths. I was a Goblin on a pig, unstoppable on my mount, and could be a huge problem for one thing. Mounted Combatant was fun to abuse. Fighter 3, Cavalier, Ranger 5, Monster Hunter, Rogue 1, Paladin 3, Conqueror. His build was supernatural with the campaign, and he basically became a Swiss Army knife for the group to fill what we lacked. Artificer Druid. Wild shape into a fly into the middle of some enemies, cause a turret to appear. Turret burns them all. Alternatively, you could turn your turrets into bombs and do strafing runs, dropping them onto your enemies. Bardbarians work quite well because most bard spells are social spells, so they aren't often competing with rage. But be warned, this is how Fabio is created. Monks are hard to multiclass with, but you could get fun shenanigans depending on the multiclass. Now, this one might not be unique, but Bard Paladins are so much fun. Bard of Glamour with either Glory or Ancients Paladin just sing in harmony. Take Featherfall so you can Captain America jump out of airships. Barbarian Moon Druid makes you super tanky in your wild shape form. Barbarian Rogue Bugbear with expertise and athletics. You can now grapple someone 10 feet away, rules as written they can't grapple you back. You are considered large, so you can pick up just about anyone. Grappling is considered a form of attack, so rage first, and focus on speed bonuses between the two classes. When you get to them, pick them up and run off with them, either making them your new best friend or just toss them off a cliff. Your choice. Extra perk, all that XP now belongs to you. I play a Mark of Hospitality Halfling Glamour Bard, Fathomless Warlock, Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. The gimmick is that he is the ship's cook who makes just awful food taste good, and be safe to eat of course, through magic, because he wants to keep morale high. But just doesn't believe in anything and keeps collecting more powerful eldritch horrors of the deep to serve. He's enormously fun because he's a committed support character with off-the-wall impulses. Plus, I have a dizzying number of cantrips, first-level spells, and special abilities, but all of it has come from the world-building and roleplay of 3 sessions of our podcast. I especially love playing off the earnest, orderly integrity of our captain, a sorta high-strung, almost fanatical Harengon Tempest cleric. The multi-class works because my character is this slimy charmer that doesn't have to be the best in combat. But boy, can he come up with some zingers! I've even written some shanties too. Hey, if you're listening in, let us know in the comments below because I love singing sea shanties. Come on now. I made a Gnome Barbarian. At 4th level, I took the Mage Initiate feat. I like Prestidigitation and took Frostbolt as my other cantrip. That way, I didn't need to carry a ranged weapon, and I took Featherfall as a failsafe as my 1st level spell. I enjoyed the magic on the character, so eventually I multiclassed into Rogue to go Arcane Trickster. The character became Thor, invisible mage hand as an arcane trickster. I could throw my hammer and have it return right to me. I also took Thunder Wave. We had 2 characters who could fly, so I would have them carry me, and I would drop down in the middle of enemies and use Thunder Wave. We called it the Gnome Bomb. I've currently got a Drow Cleric Druid, which isn't too out there, but it's granted me a truly obscene amount of spells. Currently, level 4, and between racial and class spells, I have 27. Yeah, it's a lot to juggle, but the nice thing is that I can kind of have some of everything prepared, and I'm not struggling to pick what spell for my last one. I just made a Peace Cleric 1 Eloquence Bard 9 for a one-shot. Not sure how she'll turn out mechanically, but it's just a one-shot that's campaign relevant, and planning on having her die at the end, so I'm not too worried if it doesn't work out well. My very first character was a Beastmaster Ranger. Leave me alone, I was reading Ranger's Apprentice. Listen, Rangers are great, shut up. At around level 5, I was getting underwhelmed by my damage output and utility compared to our Rogue, Paladin, and Bard. So I decided to multi-class to Wild Magic Sorcerer. My DM and I played it off as an awakening of latent magical powers, and I could only pick nature spells or full powerful evocation spells to stick with uncontrollable magical power type stuff. And we even had me roll for wild magic surges with cantrips. By level 10, I was a 5/5 BM Ranger, WM Sorcerer, and I was a powerhouse, baby! The combo of Ranger Sorcerer is surprisingly good and can make for some really fun character story moments too. I played a Rogue Paladin. It was only one level of Rogue, but we were coming in as level 2 characters and the Rogue was her backstory. I loved Ebony, who was a street gang member with an abusive drunken mother who had an in-and-out sugar daddies who sometimes thought the daughter was part of the deal. One day there was a street fight and knives were pulled. Her friend was cut down and the city guards showed up. Everyone ran so they wouldn't get caught, but she didn't leave her friend's side. The guard was actually a low-level paladin of Heronius and did a lay on hands to save her friend, nodded at her in approval and said, "You didn't run, kid." She was offered steady work at the Heronian temple, mucking stalls and such in return for food and shelter. She thrived in the environment where you work hard, are treated fairly, and people stick to their word and grown men don't prey on young women. She ultimately became an initiate and was blessed by Heronius to become a paladin. I must say, it was pretty awesome when the party was trapped into a 20-foot pit and she removed her armor and said, "I got this," and was able to scale the walls with her rogue training and even pop the hatch. I kind of had a similar thought as Bardbarian. It's not super wild, but basically having a full Scald or Commander-type playstyle with Variant Human with inspiring leader feat, and Battlemaster Fighter, Swords Bard, and doing dual-wielder playstyle. Get the rally and maneuvering attack and stuff for maneuvers. Seems fun and could also be RP heavy. I played an Armorer, Artificer, Rogue, Fighter multiclass in one campaign. One of my favorite characters. Not amazing in combat or anything, but mechanically super enjoyable to play. This was at level 10 with Fighter 1, Armorer 5, Rogue 4. I asked my DM if I'd be able to shoot magic stones with a repeating sling, so this wasn't really optimized at all. I really enjoyed the decision making with resources though. I wanted to prefer using my sling for shots, so I'd have to regularly cast magic stone to stock up on ammo. This was competing with cunning action, steady aim to get advantage. With free level 1 feats, my feats were Crusher, Sharpshooter, and Elven Accuracy. Also, the added versatility from spells was great. Great Old One Warlock and Bear Totem Barbarian eventually has resistance to all damage types while raging. You know, while raging. I played mine as a lone survivor of a barbarian tribe that had been wiped out by mind flayers, and decided to destroy them by any means necessary, when he started having weird dreams, leaving him with strange but useful powers, and a compulsion to kill anything not native to the plane. He didn't talk much, but was downright chatty with his telepathy once he got permission to use it, since he could convey his ideas much easier that way. He was a blast to play with, and focused heavily on roleplay, especially with Devil's Sight and Eyes of the Runekeeper. Nothing went unknown to the party. Introducing the man of many bargains. Why do 2 classes when you can do 3? Paladin of the Ancients, level 3. Warlock Hexblade, level 2. If your DM is nice and lets you have a charisma-hitting blade without Hexblade, go for the Genie for more shenanigans. Bloodhunter of the Profane Soul, level 2. Pick another patron. I like the Undead. It's completely suboptimal, but every single attack you do rolls like 5 dice. Base damage plus Booming Blade plus Bloodhunter's Fire plus Smite. Add a symbiotic from the Dark Gifts and Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. Get Find Familiar. Get Ritual Casting with Magic Initiate. Have fun making your DM manage the 5 entities you talk with, and get a talking sword to add a 6th. Yeah, why not? Get some other ritual spells and use the spell book as if it was the Book of Voldemort. I really liked that character. It was my edgiest one yet. Hartigan Pain sounds like hurting in pain. Knight of a Dead Order who sold his soul to everyone for power to fight evil. Became a monster to fight monsters like Anderson and Helsing. And he sets his blade on fire by calling his oath. Dread, creatures of evil and damnation, for my watch continues, and I bring thee condemnation. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know in the comments below. What is your most broken D&D multi-class? And of course, if you want to keep the lights on running and the AC on this summer, make sure to join our membership program. You get early access to videos and our eternal gratitude. We love you all. Please be safe and happy. See you next time. Toodaloo for now.